This is the Monday Market Update with a Good Life Investing. Today is November 2nd, 2020. Thank you for joining us today, and let's take a look. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Morning Market Update on November 2nd, 2020. Today is election day. It's a big day, so let's get into it. Market futures. So we have the Dow looks to be an implied open at 26,758. So it looks like we're going up here. It looks like the markets are, going back to risk on. As of last week, the markets were plummeting around the election uncertainty and what's going on. Seems the market may be figuring something out, maybe more positive that our election will go smoothly and we'll know who may be president on Wednesday. Who knows? But we just got to wait and see, kind of get through all this noise, and we'll see what happens. But the futures are looking good here. Implied open on the three different indices look to be up. We got the Dow, the US 30, opening up around 26,758. Got the S&P 500 about to open up at 3,299. And then, of course, the NASDAQ at 11,130. So also what I'm looking at here, which I'm fairly surprised, as last week we saw the VIX skyrocket. It jumped up to 40. Seemed to be a lot of uncertainty around if we were going to know who the president is, when we'll know who the president is, and then also, how much further out this stimulus for the economy will be pushed out. So last week seemed to be a risk-off week. This week looks to be a back to risk-on, and people are buying it. It seems like it looks like they're buying the dip, possibly thinking this isn't going to be as bad as we may have thought last week. So with the S&P 500 VIX futures, we're at 32.72, which is down, which is good. We had a high today, this morning, of 35.22. So, we're still dropping to 32.72. And like I said last week, we were hovering somewhere around 40. Commodities. So gold continues to creep up. So like I said, we were risk off. It seems like people are going back to stocks, but gold is often seen as a hedge to the risk. So I can see why gold is getting positive here. It is a strong year for gold as well. We're not at the all-time highs for the year, but it is still doing well, sitting at $1,890. Crude WTI sitting at $35.48. I expect crude to continue to come down as this EV revolution continues to gain more and more steam. But crude oil at $35.48 is not too bad. That's going to be affordable for everybody in America throughout this winter. And I think, keeping crude oil prices down during, during this pandemic or going into the uncertainty of the fall, it's good to keep oil cheap so everybody can afford some cheap gas. Just like gold, silver continues to do well. People are putting this in their portfolio as a hedge as well. Silver is coming in at $24. Surprising to see natural gas coming down at 3.4%. We seem to be stuck here at the $3.24, but we'll see what happens as the weather continues to get colder. So the economic calendar. So today we have a PMI manufacturing, the ISM manufacturing index, and construction spending. I did get some results here, so let me take a look. PMI manufacturing, the consensus was 53.3 with a range of, and the actuals came in at 53.4. Through orders softened. October's flash held steady at 53.3, which is the consensus for the month's final. So, no surprises there. Came in as estimated, so that's good. ISM manufacturing, the consensus was 55.7 and actuals came in at 59.3. After beating Econo Day's consensus for 6 straight reports, the ISM manufacturing index came in below expectations in September at what, however, was still a very solid 55.4. For October, Econo Day's consensus is 55.7. Construction spending. This is extremely important as, a part of our economy. As long as construction keeps going, especially new home builds, that is a good thing. So month over month, we were last month we were at 1.4%, up 1.4%. The consensus was up 0.9%, and actuals came in at 0.3%. So that's a little weak there. Year over year, last year for this month, we came in at 2.5%. And the actuals year over year came in at an increase of 1.5%. So construction spending rose 1.4% in August, but pulled down by non-residential spending, was still 2.2% below where it was in February. Encounter Day's consensus for September is a 0.9% headline increase. So that is the economic calendar. We do the economic calendar update for Monday morning. We do have some other, things to watch on the economic calendar this week. I'm looking at motor vehicle sales and making sure that those stay strong. As long as motor vehicles are staying strong, that means our economy is staying strong. Which is a big concern right now as we wait for the stimulus to come out to the economy. So I'm also going to be looking on Wednesday at the ADP employment report, just to kind of get a consensus of what the jobless claims are going to look like on Thursday. So just to get an idea, hopefully we see improving jobless claims and people being able to get back to work. But we'll see. I do know that there's a lot of fear out there that we're going to start shutting down again in the fall. So that's what I'm watching. And then also on Thursday, FOMC announcement. That'll be good. Usually, I'm pretty sure the Fed has said that they are going to keep rates low, but it's always good to see what the FOMC is going to say, just to get an idea of what we can expect. I don't see that they're going to rock the boat by any means. We can depend on our Fed like a rock. They are supporting us like no other. So nothing to be scared of, but I'm going to be taking a look at it just to keep track of what's going on. And then on Friday, we got a pretty slow day. We got the Baker Hughes rig count. Generally there, you're just looking at the rig count, seeing if they are, adding rigs, pumping more oil, or bringing down the rig count and not pumping as much oil. Right now, I think they're pumping as much oil as they can. So I'm guessing this Baker Hughes rig count is probably going to continue to increase or stay the same. They are pumping oil as fast as they can with the fear that the demand for oil will continue to drop. So that is the economic calendar for this week. Earnings calendar. Here we go. So big week for earnings. This week is the second biggest week of earnings. Last week was the biggest, with Facebook, Amazon, and Apple big tech reporting last week. So last week was super busy. So here's what I am watching for the week. So on Monday, I'll be watching PayPal, seeing how they're going through, see how their numbers are, if their numbers are increasing with the at-home economy, everybody buying online. PayPal should benefit from that. I'm also going to be watching lumber liquidators. Lumber liquidators, the reason I'm watching that is I want to see what's going on with the price of lumber. Right now, the price of lumber is going up. So that has a big deal in our economy, especially when we are building houses like crazy right now, as it is viewed as that we have a housing shortage. So I'm going to be looking at lumber liquidators, seeing what the cost of lumber is doing, and that'll affect the cost of housing, which will then ultimately affect on who can purchase homes and who gets priced out of the market. So that is why I watched that. I'm also going to be watching Camping World. This was a big year for recreational activities. So I just want to see how Camping World did. Did they remain strong? Did they come through strong? That's what I'm going to be watching there, watching Camping World and seeing if this trend continues. AMC Entertainment. This is a big one. They are a movie theater. Currently, probably the biggest hit from this COVID-19 pandemic. It's tough on these guys. Nobody wants to go to a movie theater right now. So their movies, even though they are showing movies and being, responsible with social distancing and everything like that, their theaters remain empty. So I just kind of want to get an idea of how bad that is. Can we expect AMC to file bankruptcy? And we'll see what happens there. On Tuesday, watching Wayfair, once again, at-home economy. Watching people order online. I want to see how strong their sales are and if they're going to continue to increase. So I'm watching that. Then we move over to Wednesday. Wednesday, not much going on. I mean, there's quite a bit that you could follow here. I am personally going to be watching Mercado Libre. They are an online retailer similar to Amazon. They are expected to be extremely high growth. So I just want to keep an eye on them right there. Also be watching Hilton, seeing how the hotels do. And then also PFG on Wednesday, Performance Food Group. I almost overlooked them. I don't know how I did that, but Performance Food Group, they are a restaurant supplier. So basically, I want to see how they're doing, how their restaurants are faring, how their sales are faring. I know they probably went through this last quarter doing somewhat well with the restaurants having outdoor seating. It was warmer and everybody, not as fearful to go to restaurants. But now as the weather gets colder, we'll see. But just want to make sure that, these last quarter results were strong as we go into another quarter of uncertainty, especially within the restaurant business. On Thursday, going to be watching Square. Square, of course, once again, just seeing payment processor there. So I'm looking at that, seeing with everything online retail, Square should be benefiting from this, as well as Square just did something really interesting, and they bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin. So kind of want to get an idea of what their strategy is there. Is it an alternative investment, or are they going to continue to go hard into the Bitcoin market? Also be watching Roku, streaming player. So, at-home economy, they should be benefiting really well. Want to watch that. Make sure you see if this at-home trade is still applicable. And then Peloton, same reason. Nobody wants to go to a gym. Everybody's exercising at home. How many Pelotons are we selling here? And how is their community doing? So just going to be watching that. General Motors, it should be an interesting call. General Motors, they just announced their H2 electric, their Hummer, which looks pretty sweet. I don't think it's not going to be released until next year, but they are taking pre-orders. But General Motors is an interesting story as they make a transition from the combustion engine to electric vehicles. So this should be interesting to watch. Uber also, Uber, I'm watching them, seeing if their rideshare is going to be picking up. Or, there is the food delivery business. Is that picking up the slack there? Do we see growth? Are people getting more comfortable taking Ubers? We'll see. That'll be a good call to watch as well. And then also, luckily, the two main businesses where it's food delivery and rideshare. Rideshare may be struggling a little bit. People may not be wanting to, ride in someone else's car. But at the same time, they are staying home and they may want some food delivered because sometimes you just get sick of home cooking. So I am hoping that we see better results in their food delivery business. And then last but not least, on Friday, we got, let's see here, Marriott. I'm going to be watching Marriott just to get an idea what the hotel industry is doing. And then, of course, CVS Health. Those would be the two earnings calls I will be watching there. So thank you for joining us this morning for our Monday market update. Please do follow us on Twitter at A Good Life Invest. You can follow us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is at A Good Life Investing. And then, of course, make sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We will be posting the earnings calls on our channel. This is a great way to stay up to date on your investments. Happy Monday, guys. And once again, thank you for joining us.